In a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming, it can be hard to slow down and find that sense of inner peace and contentment. But in this video, I'm going to take you through some simple practices that you can start to try out that will help you step away from the chaos, let go of the overwhelm, and bring you back to a sense of inner peace and harmony. So the first practice is gratitude practice. And I've started doing this much more consistently recently, and it has really changed my mindset about things. Every morning I do a 10-minute meditation, and after the meditation I do 1 or 2 minutes where I think through all of the things that I'm grateful for. And this tends to focus on the foundational things like having a roof over my head, having a job that affords me the ability to pay my bills, being able to buy nourishing food, having my husband and my dog to share my life with. And it might sound like a really simple thing to do, but it's honestly helped me to not get so caught up in the worry of things. If I worry about not having a certain thing, I'm much quicker to bring myself back to the fact that actually I have everything I need. The thing that I'm thinking about buying is extra. It's not an essential, it's a want more than a need. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting things, but I think if we get caught up in a cycle where everything we're buying is what we want, maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe the focus is in the wrong area. Even if you don't want to do the meditation bit, maybe just have a few moments of a morning or of an evening to think over the sorts of things that you're grateful for and see if you notice any shifts in your mindset. The next practice that I do daily is journaling, and I've done daily journaling for about 3 years now. For many years I was an on and off journaler, but for whatever reason 3 years ago I started it and I've never stopped. And again, I'm not expecting you to start doing it every day, but I do find it really helpful for my mental health. If I've got things running around my mind and they're playing on my mind, I'm ruminating about them, getting them down on paper is so good for me because it just stops them from whirling round up there when I get them down on the paper. It doesn't necessarily mean that I resolve the problem, although having that time to think things through, even if it's just writing down what's going on, it kind of starts helping me to open up and reflect on what's going on and maybe think of alternatives or potential solutions. But it doesn't necessarily have to help you do that. Just writing things down and getting them on the paper, often that can be enough to start helping reduce the level of worry or anxiety you might have about something. The next tip or practice is learning new skills. So this doesn't mean that you have to start spending money on lots of training courses if you don't want to, but I do like learning, so I do a lot of reading about subjects that I'm interested in, and that really helps to open up my perspectives on things. But for you, it might be creative activities that you want to do, like writing or making things like crafting, painting, pottery, for example. Or perhaps you're a cook and you'd like to try a new recipe. I think doing things that take us outside of our comfort zone can be really good for our confidence. Just give things a go. And for me, it's more the process of doing it and the enjoyment of doing it than necessarily about the end result. Another practice that I found has helped me develop more sense of contentment in life is adopting healthy habits. So by this I mean regular exercise, eating well, and by that I don't mean never eating processed food at all, but I do try and get the majority of my food from whole foods, which has been shown to improve your mental health. And when it comes to exercise, the exercise that you enjoy is the one that you're going to sustain the most. Everybody's different when it comes to the exercise they enjoy, so pick one that you know you like, or if you don't know what you like, try a few out. There's no hard and fast rules to this, but I do find that when I make the effort and look after my mental and physical health, I feel a lot better in myself. If I have a period where I'm just eating rubbish, I don't feel good. I feel bloated and my mind doesn't feel as clear. I feel a bit fed up. So I really think it's worth investing in some healthy habits like diet and exercise, because if you take care of those things, you're more likely to have the health necessary to do all the other things you might want to do. This next practice I've talked about before, and that is connecting with nature. I love going out walking in nature. It just connects me back in with the wider world, helps me to appreciate that I am but a small tiny dot in this universe. Whether or not you believe in something greater than ourselves, I think it's hard not to be humbled by nature, and I find that it really helps to reset my mind, refresh my mind. So maybe if I've had a difficult week for whatever reason, I find walking a good way for me to reflect on things, but also just get me back to reality that, you know, there is a lot of serious stuff going on, but nature continues. Nature is doing its thing and it does it perfectly well without needing us there interfering with it, and it just helps ground me back in reality. So I'm going to mention this practice. I know people might roll their eyes because it has been a bit of a buzzword, and I think a lot of people do struggle with it, and that is meditation. So I do a 10-minute meditation every morning. Sometimes I do it by myself without the need for a recording, but other times if I'm feeling like I might be particularly distracted, I do use a guided meditation to help me. Do what works for you, but I have noticed such a big difference since I started meditating. I tend to be like a worst case scenario thinker. The small seed of a worry can really rapidly grow into something much bigger when it has no need to. But I found that when I started meditating regularly, that has reduced a lot. It's less likely that my mind will run away from itself and this worst case scenario will actually happen in my mind. I'm quicker to catch those thoughts before they run away from me, and meditation has definitely helped with that, because the whole process of meditation is that as you're sitting there, your mind will wander. That's what the mind does. It will wander off on something that happened the night before or what you've got to do at work that day. But the key is, the whole practice of meditation is noticing when your mind does that and just bringing yourself back to the present moment. You've not failed if your mind wanders, because your mind will wander. In fact, you want it to in a way, because then you get the opportunity to practice bringing yourself back into the present moment. So maybe part of why people are put off by meditation maybe is because they feel like they fail with it, when actually your mind is not doing anything wrong. It's what it's evolved to do. But what we can do through meditation is get better at focusing on where we are now, which helps us to enjoy life much more. We get better at focusing on what we're doing in the moment so we don't lose those moments. And if you like some other practical self-care tips, then check out the video that's on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.